We're back with Will, and I'm going to keep asking some more questions before we listen to some more music. Um, I wanted to ask you something, Will. In what way your life's experience up until that moment shaped the music of your first albums? Do you believe that your inspiration came from the spur of the moment, or was it rather something that was shaped by your life's experiences, your life's path situations, and how did it come about?
Well, again, I think one of the reasons it worked is because nobody would have thought that it could be successful. I mean, it was sincere. It came from the heart. And it wasn't, again, it was not some guy trying to become famous. It was just a guy who's sitting at home playing the guitar and coming up with a few songs. Um, I don't know how far I want to go into it, but the impending death of the Virgin Spirit. It's a very ponderous name, but it is about the night before my mother committed suicide. And I'm channeling this stuff. I am trying to express, without tears, without feeling sorry for myself. Um, but these feelings, they are what make up our lives. And thank God, there's also tremendous joy. But I feel that you have to acknowledge, the parts that are not beautiful, the parts that are very, very difficult. And I know that the reason I was writing music was because it was healing in some respect. And the fact that there were so many other people in the world at that time who were feeling much the same thing. And it was, we were just very lucky. We were the ones who picked up the little tiny flag and waved it, and a few people, noticed it, and the radio station started playing it, and then we're playing Carnegie Hall and all the rest of it. But again, and I know I'm being redundant, but the fact is, the reason it worked is because it was sincere and because it was not trying to become a big commercial entity. The fact that it did become that is only in following the sincerity and the truth of what we were doing.
So you play the guitar doing some intonations. Is that what they call? You toned it. Yeah,
Tunings.
you
Yeah,
did different tunings. How did you discover these different ways of playing the guitar from what was accustomed? So
where were we?
about your tuning the guitar, how did you discover you can do something different from what was like the norm back then? Because there were other people who were doing different tonings, but you expanded on that.
Uh, yeah, I mean, there were a few standard, relatively standard open tunings. So a lot of the blues players and people who were doing slide music and the rest of it, and a lot of that being really folk traditions and a lot of black folk tradition as well. Um, I never made a decision about, what I'm going to do is invent, 83 new tunings. I mean, that was not it. And frankly, I'm still kind of confused about why I did that. And I this is only in hindsight, but I really think that what I was trying to do was to eliminate the frontal lobes of the brain entirely because I didn't know where I was. I was in the desert, I was on the ocean, I was wherever I was, but I didn't have anything but heart to guide me. And I do believe it's a trick I played on myself to eliminate thought. That heart and feeling was going to be the point. Yes, I mean, Alex DeGrassi, my cousin, unbelievable player, and then Michael Hedges, one of the great innovators of any guitar playing in the world. But they were all doing what what I wanted, namely, this is music of the heart. And yeah, you can play as complex as you want, yes or no, but that you could have both, that you could have the innovator of Michael Hedges and the skill of my cousin Alex DeGrassi. I mean, we were a family. We really were a family. And when we toured as evenings with Windham Hill, and we were all just buddies. And Liz is another buddy, but and we were just backstage, we're just messing around, playing things, and oh, there's another song that we could record. It was all the point is that it was innocent.
Hmm.
It was it was not chasing money, it was not chasing fame,
It
which is
was,
precisely why it became famous and commercially successful.
yeah. But how, I was wondering, how did you come up with recruiting, such musicians are as Michael Hedges, as Liz Story, Night Noise, Shadowfax, and Michael Manring, who's gonna be on the show soon. He's coming. I'm gonna interview him as well. So there, you had such an amazing group of musicians that were doing their thing, contributing to the label. But how did you gather together all these amazing musicians, Billy Oscar, and all of them?
In some cases, it was being in touch with the radio stations, and in some cases, people's music were being played by small FM radio stations, but I would hear about it. But I think for the most part, somebody would send me a short demo of something, because they felt that Liz could fit in the label. Of course she could. But we had our own beacon on at that point. We were a pretty bright light, and musicians from around the world were, writing to us, from Germany especially, Japan to some large degree. Um, and the explosion of Windham Hill's success in America was, I mean, Japan actually per capita was the biggest market for us in the world. I mean, we were huge. I mean, I was playing, and I would do private concerts at the Imperial Palace. For Prince and Princess Takamoto. Um, it's it's so incredible at this point in my life, and I look back and I can't even believe the story in some respects. It was so blessed and it was so powerful. And I wish I could tell you this. Oh yeah, I invented. I did all this. No, I planted a seed, and then people watered it, and it turned into a really big tree. And
Yeah, but you
go ahead.
expanded. You expanded just beyond the music for in the new age music. Because I remember buying the DVDs. No, I'm sorry, VHS. The VHS on Tibet, China, the seasons with the music of your musicians, and also the Rabbit Ear Productions from, with. I mean, how did you come to connect with Jeremy Irons, Meryl Streep, so many amazing actors doing the reading from the storytelling, with obviously the music from the Windham Hill musicians. How did that come about?
But I understand that in terms of rabbit ears and the rest of it, we were a distributor of that, but we were not. I was not producing.
Okay,
Those people knew what they were doing. I didn't. I'm not going to tell them what to do.
okay.
But we loved the quality of it. We loved the intelligence of it, and it was unique. And so, if it's unique and I like it, and even if it isn't Windham Hill, it's something that should be promoted. It's something that we can help with. And it worked.
Yeah, I still have the VHS tapes from those days. Um, they were just mesmerizing. I mean, I remember putting China, I think it was, and listening to Tim Story's music, and or the whole video with the culture that you were letting us, the rest of the people, know with such an amazing music. It was very, very, powerful. I could see it and watch, one times a week for a while, and it was like, oh, this is so amazing. So, having the vision, or even if it was yours, or just the label from other people working with you, that was really, really, really a great option to offer people, the seasons with music. Uh, it was great. It was really good. So
Well, we had established a reputation,
yeah.
and we guarded it very, very carefully.
How do you feel?
Um,
How do you feel the Win Bill label was um, seen by the other record labels of new age music? Was it like an
well,
example, or what? How do you feel about that?
I think pretty much every major label in America wanted to emulate what Wyndham Hill was doing. The trouble is they didn't understand that it required heart,
Yeah.
and so pretty much every major record label came up with, and they all fell flat. I mean, I can't say that it was all, horrible or anything like that, but we were still there after this enormous explosion, and we were still the ones who were making our decision on heart. And if you don't have something really important to say in your spirit, in your heart, I don't care how good a player you are. And I think a lot of the labels thought, oh, well, we just get this person who's just banging the hell out of this like Michael Hedges, except there's nothing there at the heart of it. Um, so I don't know if that's answering your question, but please make sure that you understand, that everybody who's listening to this understands that Will Ackerman did not envision this. Will Ackerman took one step in front of the other from another, and it was a bunch of binary decisions he made. Yes, no. And the net result was my instincts worked. Thank you very much. Um,
It is clear. It is very clear, and I really know what you're. I can hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, and sometimes it became so big that it was just like it's difficult to kind of accept it or feel it. Like, oh my God, what have I created? This amazing thing, and mainly how it was received by the world. This is a two-way street. So it was what we needed, and you took the perfect moment to do it. So it was amazing. It was great. So everything that you
well,
kept doing with your productions, like it was with your own albums, it was really amazing.
well, it was true.
Mm-hmm.
It was true.
Yeah,
It was not we're chasing something, or we're trying to sound like somebody else. No, it's just here. This is our heart.
yeah.
This is Michael's heart. This is Shadowfax. This is, Alex DeGrassi, my cousin. That's why it worked.
Uh-huh.
We're not chasing anything. We're just saying what we're feeling in our hearts.
Yeah.
And that sincerity is precisely why it worked.
Okay, so now we're going to play two songs from your 1979 album, Childhood in Memory. And from 1981 album Passage, we chose Anne's song that I imagine it's related to Anne McGilvray, who was with you at the beginning of the creation of Wingham Hill. So
Very much.
we're gonna share those through those songs, and we'll be back with some more questions.
Very good.